Have you ever wondered how a tiny village, like just a little village on the banks of the Tigris River, could become like the heart of a vast empire? A city known for its dazzling wealth and unparalleled learning.
It really is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're diving into today, the story of Baghdad.
It's a tale as captivating as any you'd find in the Arabian Nights,
Oh, definitely.
filled with political intrigue, dramatic power shifts, and architectural marvels. I mean, architectural marvels that would make even the most seasoned traveler gasp in awe.
To really appreciate the grandeur of Baghdad, though, we need to rewind the clock a bit, back to the 8th century CE.
Okay.
A time when the mighty Umayyad Caliphate held sway over a territory stretching, well, imagine this, from Spain to the borders of China.
An empire so vast and opulent,
It rivaled the Roman Empire at its peak.
truly a force to be reckoned with. The Umayyads, I mean. They were known for their military prowess, their lavish courts, and their patronage of the arts. But like all empires, their grip on power eventually started to weaken.
I'm curious about those cracks in the foundation. What factors contributed to the eventual decline of this seemingly invincible empire?
Well, a series of military defeats, for starters,
Oh,
at the hands of rivals like the Byzantine Empire and the Turkic tribes in Central Asia. These losses not only strained their resources, they also, emboldened their enemies.
so external pressures started to mount. Were there internal tensions brewing as well?
Absolutely. The Umayyad Caliphate was incredibly diverse,
Right.
encompassing a vast array of cultures, ethnicities, and religious groups. And as the empire expanded, so did the complexities of governing such a diverse population.
It makes sense that managing such a vast territory and a diverse population would create, create challenges.
Yeah.
What were some of the specific issues that fueled discontent within the caliphate?
One major source of tension was the growing resentment among non-Arab Muslims,
Okay.
particularly Persians, who, they felt marginalized under Umayyad rule.
Did-
Yeah, they saw the Umayyads as favoring Arabs and overlooking their contributions to the empire.
Ah, so we're seeing the seeds of discontent being sown along ethnic and cultural lines. Were there any religious disagreements that added fuel to the fire?
Yes, there were. Various groups within the Muslim community, often referred to as sects,
Right.
held differing interpretations of Islamic law and leadership. And some of these groups felt that the Umayyads weren't adhering to their understanding of true Islamic principles.
It sounds like a powder keg waiting to explode.
Oh.
Was there a specific event or movement that ignited this simmering discontent?
That's where the Abbasids come in.
Okay,
The Abbasids were descendants of Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad,
I see.
and they cleverly tapped into these simmering resentments. They positioned themselves as champions of the disenfranchised and devout.
So the Abbasids saw an opportunity to challenge the Umayyads, leveraging this growing wave of discontent. How did they go about building support and ultimately orchestrating their rise to power?
Their strategy was brilliant, really. A combination of political maneuvering, religious messaging, and, crucially, a crucial alliance with Persian rebels who were eager to throw off Umayyad rule.
This alliance with the Persians seems pivotal. Can you tell me more about their role in the Abbasid movement?
Sure. The Persians were a key force in the Abbasid revolution. They provided military might, resources, and, well, a deep-seated desire to restore their former glory. You see, Persia had been a mighty empire before the rise of Islam,
Oh, right.
and many Persians yearned for a return to prominence.
So there's a sense of historical grievance at play here,
Yeah.
a desire to reclaim a lost past. It's fascinating how the Abbasids were able to tap into that sentiment.
They were masters of weaving together religious and political aspirations. They appealed to those who felt that the Umayyads had strayed from, true Islamic principles, while simultaneously promising a return to Persian greatness. It was a message that resonated with a wide swath of people.
And at the forefront of this movement, leading the charge in Persia, was a figure shrouded in mystery, Abu Muslim.
Yes.
Tell me more about this enigmatic rebel leader.
Abu Muslim is one of those historical figures who walks the line between fact and legend.
Interesting.
Some sources describe him as a Persian slave, others as a nobleman. What's certain is that he was a charismatic leader, someone who knew how to inspire and mobilize people.
I read that he deliberately cultivated an air of mystery, even wearing a mask in public.
Yeah.
What was the strategy behind this?
He understood the power of symbolism, the mask, the cloak of green. his connection to ancient Zoroastrian prophecies, it all added to his aura, made him seem larger than life.
Zoroastrian prophecies, that's interesting. Zoroastrianism was the dominant religion in Persia before the arrival of Islam. So we're seeing a blending of different religious and cultural traditions here.
Exactly, and this blending was one of Abu Muslim's strengths. He drew on both Islamic and pre-Islamic imagery and ideas, creating a movement that transcended traditional boundaries.
It's a reminder that history is rarely neat and tidy. Ideas and traditions often intermingle and evolve in unexpected ways. But this fusion of influences ultimately culminated in a decisive confrontation between the Abbasids and the Umayyads, didn't it?
It did. It all came to a head at the Battle of the Zab in 750 CE, a clash that would determine the fate of two empires and the future of the Islamic world.
And that's where we'll pick up next time.
Okay, great.
Join us as we delve into this epic battle and witness the dramatic fall of the Umayyads and the rise of a new dynasty that would change the course of history. Welcome back. Last time, we left off with the stage set for, well, a showdown.
Right.
The Abbasid revolution was gaining momentum, fueled by Persian alliances and that, enigmatic leadership of Abu Muslim.
Right.
And then you had the Umayyads clinging to their vast but increasingly fragile empire.
Yeah.
Let's dive into the pivotal moment where these forces collide, the battles of the Zab.
Okay. This battle, fought on the banks of the Great Sab River in 750 CE, was like a turning point in Islamic history.
It wasn't just a clash of armies, right?
No, it was a clash of ideologies, a clash of visions for the future of the Islamic world.
Sounds incredibly dramatic. Can you, set the scene for us? Who are the key players and what were the stakes?
Okay, so on one side, you had the Umayyad Caliph, Marwan II, leading a force that was, at least on paper, significantly larger than the Abbasid army.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The Umayyads were seasoned warriors, confident in their military prowess, but perhaps that confidence led to a critical error in judgment.
What do you mean? What mistake did they make?
Well, in a move that would prove fatal, Marwan II, he ordered his troops to burn the bridges behind them, cutting off their own escape route.
Hey, what?
Yeah, it seems he was so certain of victory that he wanted to, prevent his soldiers from retreating.
Wow, talk about overconfidence.
Yeah.
But what about the Abbasid forces? Who was leading them and what was their strategy?
The Abbasid army was commanded by Abd Allah ibn Ali, who is a skilled general and one of the masterminds, I guess you could say, behind the revolution. Unlike the Umayyads, the Abbasids, well, they weren't complacent. They understood the gravity of this situation, and fought with a fervor fueled by years of resentment and a vision for a new order.
So we have a classic clash of styles here, the overconfident incumbents versus the determined underdogs. How did the battle unfold?
The Abbasid forces, despite being outnumbered, fought with incredible tenacity and strategic brilliance.
Yeah.
They exploited the terrain to their advantage, used innovative tactics to disrupt the Umayyad lines, and ultimately routed their opponents.
Wow, that's a stunning victory. I imagine the consequences for the Umayyads were, well, severe.
Devastating. Yeah, the Battle of the Zab, it marked the end of their dynasty. Marwan II, he fled the battlefield and was eventually killed. The Abbasids, now victorious, wasted no time in consolidating their power.
From what I've read, the first Abbasid caliph, Asafa, his name literally means the shedder of blood, was quite ruthless in establishing his authority. Was this a necessity or was it pure brutality?
Right. It's hard to judge historical figures by, our modern standards.
Sure.
As-Safa's actions were certainly brutal, but in the context of his time, they weren't entirely unusual. He faced the daunting task of securing a newly won empire and eliminating potential threats.
So he saw it as a necessity to ensure the survival of his dynasty. What specific actions did he take to consolidate his power?
He ruthlessly hunted down remaining Umayyad princes, even ordering the desecration of their tombs.
Wow.
It was a systematic purge aimed at extinguishing any possibility of a resurgence of the Umayyad dynasty.
It's a chilling reminder of the brutal realities of power struggles throughout history. But even as As-Safa was solidifying his control, his brother, Al-Mansur, was already emerging as a key figure, right?
Oh, absolutely. Al-Mansur played a pivotal role in the revolution and was instrumental in shaping the early years of Abbasid rule. He was known for his intelligence, his piety, and his, administrative skills.
And it was Al-Mansur who would go on to found the city that would become the jewel of the Abbasid Caliphate, the legendary city of Baghdad. What motivated him to establish a new capital?
Several factors were at play. Firstly, he wanted to distance the Abbasid dynasty from the Umayyad legacy. both geographically and symbolically. You see, Damascus, the former Umayyad capital, it was too closely associated with their rule.
It makes sense to create a fresh start, a new center of power that
Yeah.
would embody the Abbasid vision. Were there other reasons for choosing a new location?
Yes. Al-Mansur, he recognized the strategic importance of location. He wanted a capital that would be more centrally located within the vast Abbasid Empire, of course, a place that would facilitate trade and communication.
So he was thinking like a true empire builder,
Yeah.
considering both the symbolic and practical concerns. How did he go about choosing the site for this new capital?
He searched for a location that would offer both, let's see, both strategic advantages and access to resources. He explored various options along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, eventually settling on a small Persian village on the west bank of the Tigris.
And that unassuming village would become the site of one of the most magnificent cities the world had ever seen. What was it about this particular location that appealed to Al-Mansur?
Well, it had several advantages. It was situated at the crossroads of major trade routes connecting the east and west, north and south. And the fertile lands surrounding the Tigris River, they could support a large population and agricultural production.
So it's a strategic sweet spot, perfectly positioned for trade and growth. It's fascinating to think that such a, seemingly insignificant place could become the heart of a global empire. But how did Al-Mansur transform this village into the legendary city of Baghdad?
He poured his ambition, his resources, and his vision into the project, creating a city that would not only reflect the power and prestige of the Abbasid Caliphate, but also serve as a beacon of learning and culture.
And that's where our story truly takes flight. Join us next time as we explore the construction of Baghdad, a city designed to be the city of peace, a round city, a city like no other that had ever existed. Welcome back to our deep dive into Baghdad. We've witnessed that dramatic rise of the Abbasids, the fall of the Umayyads, and Al-Mansur's, ambitious decision to build the new capital city.
Right.
Now let's explore how this ambitious vision transformed a humble village into the legendary Baghdad we know from, like tales like the Arabian Nights.
What's fascinating about Baghdad's construction is that it wasn't just about, bricks and mortar. It was
Yes.
about crafting a city that embodied the Abbasids' aspirations, a symbol of their power, piety, and vision for a new era in Islamic history.
So it was a statement as much as it was a city. Did Al-Mansur have a specific plan in mind when he set out to build Baghdad?
He certainly did. He envisioned a circular city.
A circular city.
Yeah, it was a concept that drew inspiration from ancient Persian urban design.
Huh.
But it also held symbolic meaning within the Islamic context.
I see.
You see, the circle represented unity, completeness, and even cosmic order.
I can see how that symbolism would appeal to a ruler trying to, establish a new dynasty and a new center for the Islamic world. It's like he was creating a microcosm of the universe.
Precisely. And to further enhance this symbolism, he named the city Madinat as-Salam, meaning city of peace.
Wow.
It was a bold declaration, suggesting that Baghdad would be a place of harmony, prosperity, and intellectual enlightenment.
A city of peace, built in the shape of a circle, symbolizing unity and cosmic order. That's a powerful image. But how did this vision translate into the actual construction of the city?
Al-Mansur, he spared no expense or effort. He assembled the finest architects, engineers, and artisans from across the empire and beyond.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He even brought in astrologers to determine the most auspicious date for laying the city's foundation.
Talk about attention to detail. So how do they go about building this, circular city?
They started by constructing, massive circular walls, almost 60 feet high. And for the inner wall, an astonishing 90 feet.
Wow, that's taller than most buildings today. It must have been an awe-inspiring sight. What lay within these imposing walls?
At the heart of the city was Al-Mansur's grand palace,
Okay.
the Palace of the Golden Gate. Imagine a sprawling complex covering over 360,000 square feet, with a majestic green dome rising 120 feet high over the main audience chamber.
That sounds absolutely breathtaking.
Right.
Was the palace design influenced by any, particular architectural tradition?
It drew heavily from Persian Sasanian architecture,
Okay.
reflecting the growing Persian influence within the Abbasid court. It was a statement of power and grandeur, a palace fit for a caliph who sought to rival the ancient Persian kings in splendor.
So even as Al-Mansur was establishing a new Islamic dynasty, he wasn't shying away from incorporating elements from, other cultures and traditions.
Exactly. And this blending of influences is also evident in the design of Baghdad's Grand Mosque.
Right.
While rooted in Islamic architectural principles, it also incorporated elements of Persian design, showcasing this synthesis of cultural ideas that was shaping the city.
It sounds like Baghdad was truly a melting pot, a place where different cultures and traditions converged. What about those legendary gates I've heard so much about? Weren't some of them said to have, come from King Solomon's time?
Ah, yes. Those gates, they were the stuff of legend. According to tales passed down through generations, 4 grand gates led into the round city.
Wow.
These gates, forged from iron, were said to have been, well, crafted by demons for King Solomon himself.
Imagine the stories those gates could tell if they could speak. It's amazing how Al-Mansur, he incorporated these legends into his city's design. It must have added an aura of mystique and wonder.
Absolutely. And these tales, they weren't just for show.
Right.
They reflected a deeper truth about Baghdad. You see, it was a city built on the foundations of the past, drawing inspiration from ancient civilizations while, forging a new path for the future.
It's a reminder that even the most ambitious projects are often rooted in what came before. But Al-Mansur's Baghdad wasn't just about, grand palaces and legendary gates.
Yeah.
It was also envisioned as a center of learning and scholarship, wasn't it?
Yes. Al-Mansur, he understood that knowledge was power, and he sought to make Baghdad a beacon of intellectual enlightenment. He attracted scholars, scientists, and translators from, well, across the known world, offering them patronage and a place to pursue their studies.
It sounds like he was creating a kind of intellectual magnet, drawing in the brightest minds of his time. Did this focus on scholarship continue under his successors?
It did. In fact, under al-Mansur's grandson, Harun al-Rashid, Baghdad witnessed the establishment of one of the most renowned institutions in history, the Beit al-Hikmah, or the House of Wisdom.
The House of Wisdom. That name is legendary. What was its role in shaping Baghdad's intellectual landscape?
It was a center for scholarship, translation, and research, a place where ancient Greek texts on, philosophy, mathematics, and medicine were translated into Arabic, making this vast body of knowledge accessible to Islamic scholars. It was a hub for astronomical observation, scientific experimentation, and philosophical debate.
Sounds like a true intellectual powerhouse.
Yeah.
Were there any specific, individuals or achievements that stand out from this period?
Oh, there were so many. Think of al-Khwarizmi, whose work laid the foundations for algebra.
Right.
Or Jabir ibn Hayyan, a pioneer in alchemy and chemistry.
Oh, right.
Or al-Razi, a physician who made groundbreaking observations about, diseases like smallpox and measles.
It's mind-boggling to think about the intellectual ferment that was happening in Baghdad during this period. It truly was a golden age of learning. But as we know, all golden ages, well, they eventually fade.
Right.
What factors led to the decline of Baghdad's, intellectual and political dominance?
There were, well, internal and external pressures that eventually chipped away at the Abbasid Caliphate's power.
Okay.
Internal power struggles, regional revolts, and the rise of new empires like the Seljuk Turks all played a role.
So a combination of factors contributed to their decline. Was there a specific event that marked the end of Baghdad's golden age?
Sadly, yes. In 1258, Baghdad suffered a devastating blow when the Mongol armies led by Hulagu Khan sacked the city.
Oh, wow.
It was a brutal event that resulted in widespread destruction and loss of life.
The Mongol invasion must have been a turning point in Baghdad's history. Did the city ever recover?
It did eventually rebuild.
Right.
But it never fully regained its former glory. The sack of Baghdad, it marked the end of an era, a poignant reminder that even the most brilliant civilizations are not immune to the tides of history.
It's a sobering thought. But even though its political power waned, Baghdad's legacy as a center of learning, culture, and innovation, well, it has endured. The stories of its golden age, the achievements of its scholars, the architectural marvels it once held, I mean, they all continue to inspire us today.
Absolutely. Baghdad's story is a testament to human ingenuity, the power of ideas, and the enduring allure of a city that, for a time, truly was the center of the world.
And on that note, we'll conclude our deep dive into the fascinating history of Baghdad. We've explored its origins, its rise to greatness, its intellectual and cultural achievements, and its, eventual decline. It's a story that reminds us that history is a tapestry woven from ambition, innovation, and the ever-changing tides of fortune.
I completely agree. I think